Hi, and welcome to the first DigiPrint Supplies webinar of this still very young year, 2015. And for people who come and watch our webinars on a regular basis or watch them afterwards on our support website, you probably remember that in October last year, we did a webinar about your nozzle tests, and we went over a lot of different nozzle test scenarios and what they actually told you about the condition of your printer and your print head. And some of them told you that there was air in your ink delivery system, and some of them told you that there was something wrong with the electronics, the flat flexible cable that connects to the print head, for instance. And there were two that were of particular interest to the webinar we have today, which is the ugly truth about your print head. And we're going to take this as a starting point for this webinar, these two nozzle tests, which clearly indicate that there's something wrong with your print head. Okay, so let me just show you which two nozzle tests I'm talking about. There's this one, right? So your printer nozzle tests, you do a normal cleaning on your printer and you get a second nozzle test, okay? So actually this one shows you that there's something wrong in your ink delivery system, but it goes together with this one, the one that I needed. Let me show you so you can see the difference. So the one on the bottom, you can see that the nozzles that were out after normal cleaning, they came back, but some other nozzles are out. That's air in your system. This one, however, you have some nozzles out, you do a normal cleaning, and you still have the same nozzles out. This is a clear indication that there's something wrong with the nozzles of your print head. Something is blocking that nozzle. It could be dust, it could be debris, but most likely it will be dried ink. So that's one of the starting points. And the second one is like this. You have all your nozzles, but if you do a normal cleaning, nothing changes. Your nozzle test still looks funny, all right? We call this deflected nozzles. So again, there's something blocking the nozzles of your print head. But in this particular case, they're not completely blocked, they're half blocked. And again, this will be dust, debris, or most likely dried ink. All right, so these are the starting points of our webinar today. Nozzle tests that tell something about the condition of your print head. And before we go into what we can do about how we can get that dried ink or that dust or debris out of that print head, we're going to look out on how a print head is built. And I got a couple of print heads here with me today. I've got one like this, which is a Konica Minolta print head. I've got a DX5. I've got a Spectra Nova, which is used in super white printers, and I've got a SAR 500. Let me just grab that. Right, SAR 500. But we'll start with the DX5, and we're going to take it apart. We're going to look on what we can find in that print head and what it tells us about the maintenance that we can do on that print head. So I've got one here that's half taken apart. So if you look at it, you've got a nozzle face, you've got the flat cable connections, and you have a manifold with nipples that allow you to connect dampers. In this particular case, DX5, 8 dampers for 8 channels. So that means that the nozzle face also has 8 channels. So there's a little bracket here, which is normally secured with 3 screws. So we take that off, and we take the nozzle face off. By the way, don't do this at home. Taking the nozzle face off completely ruins your print head. But it shows you a much clearer view on the nozzle face and on the nozzle rows. So you can see 4 rows, and on the left and the right of these rows, there's nozzles. So 8 channels in total. So if we take this off completely, we just have the manifold, all right, this is a piece of plastic. But it's a piece of plastic that should be solvent resistant if you're going to use this head in a solvent printer. Not all of these manifolds are solvent resistant. There's also a water-based version of the DX5, which of course doesn't need a solvent resistant manifold. And you can see that the 8 channels or nipples come together here, right? And if we look on the back of the printhead, which we took off, you will see that there's a rubber seal, okay? That is to avoid any ink or cleaning liquid touching the electronics of the printhead. So if you take this off, you can see that here is where the ink will enter the chamber of the printhead. All right, take the electronics off. This is the inside of the DX5 printhead. I'll move it around a little bit like that. So when we talk about the maintenance of a printhead, and in this particular case, the very popular DX5, you know the flow of the ink, how it goes in here, how it is sealed on the back of the manifold before it enters the printhead. So there's no ink that's going to be coming outside of your head, and this is logical, but it does bring us to the maintenance part. Coming outside of the head, except for the nozzles. So that's what you need to maintain, the nozzle face, all right? And a DX5 printhead is very fine technology. It's got 3 micron nozzles, so they're very, very, very small. If you look at a SAR 500 or the Spectra Nova I showed you a couple of minutes ago, these have much bigger nozzles, so they're less prone to having nozzles blocked, and they also can be maintained in a different way. This needs to be maintained with care. And there's a couple of things that you can do to maintain the printhead. First of all, when you talk about Epson printheads, whether it's DX2, 4, 5, 6, 7, you should never ever touch the nozzle face with your bare hands. You've got grease on your fingers. If you touch the nozzle face with your fingers, you will leave some of that grease, and that can start to interfere with the nozzles of your printhead. So always wear gloves, right? I know they're not handy and they make your hands sweat, but at least you're not going to kill any of your printheads or even the electronics of your printer if you wear gloves to protect both your hands, because ink can cause irritation, but also the fine electronics of printheads or other parts in your printer. What you can do if your DX5 printhead is blocked, and I'll take the other one, just put the bits and pieces on the side, so here we have. First of all, if you need to clean the nozzle face, don't use a wipe. See, where is my wipe? This. Don't use a wipe like this. It's fine to use this on a Cycle printhead, a Nova, Spectra Galaxy, SAR 500. It's fine. If you want to clean this, use a swab. And don't rub. Don't go like this. Go in one direction only. Always like this, and then again like this. Don't use any excessive force. Just make it slide across the nozzle face, soaked in the correct cleaning liquid. And the correct cleaning liquid is a liquid that matches the inks that you use. Okay? If you use original inks, use the original cleaning liquid. If you use third-party inks, use the cleaning liquid from the same ink manufacturer. All right? If we look on a more robust printhead, like let's take the SAR 500, okay? That has only one channel, one nozzle face. Let's see if we can get that clear picture of it. They should make them white nozzle faces. They would be much more viewable. There you can see it a little bit, okay? If you want to clean something like this, you'll use a wipe. Again, a wipe that is dampened with cleaning liquids, not soaked in this case. So and you fold it like this, half, and then again half, right? So in this case, you have a soft edge here, and more particular here. You don't want these sealed edges, they are burned to seal them so that it doesn't start to loosen little threads. So you don't want this. This can be a little bit bumpy and rough on the edges, and you don't want to use this to wipe across the nozzle face. So you use it like this. You can fold it again, and then have a little bit of cleaning liquid here. And then again, just like with a DX5, you just go in one direction. All right, you don't rub it like this. One direction, cleaning liquid again, another part of your fold, and wipe it again. So that's where it starts, with good maintenance of your printhead. All right. Now, in the unfortunate case that despite your good maintenance, you still have blocked nozzles, there's a couple of solutions where you can look at. And the first one should be the cleaning methods provided by your printer. Next to normal cleaning, you have cleaning programs in your printer that are more endurable, that just try to liberate the printhead of any dust or debris that is inside. However, if you have dried ink in that printhead, even that will not help you free up your printhead and make it usable again. And in that case, you can use something like a Printhead Cleaning Kit. I've got a couple of here. I've got one like this, right? This one will work on DX5, DX7 as well. And I've got one with a valve damper, right? Yeah, which is especially for the DX6, all right? Some people add a disc filter here and, to make sure that anything that goes through the printhead is pure and free of particles, but that's not really necessary. First of all, it's cleaning liquid, and second of all, every damper has built-in filters. So not really necessary to add a disc filter, but if you want to feel super safe, then you can just disconnect this, get a filter in between, and connect it again. All right, so how does this work? Well, let's start with getting some cleaning liquid in here. Just soak up some cleaning liquid. There we go. We'll connect it again. Like this. We'll get our printheads. We'll move over this device, which we will show later, and I'll connect damper to the first channel. All right? So like this. Now, there's a scale on my syringe. Okay? Just hold it like this. I can see it. A scale, and if you push cleaning liquid through your printhead using a Printhead Cleaning Kit, you should do this like 1-2 milliliters at a time, and don't use excessive force, especially on DX5. These are small nozzles, and you feel a little bit of resistance when you push cleaning liquid through it. So just small amounts. See? Like this. Can you see the curtain? I'm trying to turn it like this. Just small amounts until you can see nice straight lines, which is not the case in this printhead. There's the first one. Maybe you can watch the video afterwards again on our support site and zoom into it. But the first nozzle is going all the way to the right, so that's a deflected nozzle for sure. And then I can see that in the curtain, in the mist of liquid coming out of the printhead, there's some gaps. So these are missing nozzles. All right. So that's how you use it. All right. I'll disconnect it. Once you did one channel, you connect it to the second channel, and you do the same thing again. If you use a Printhead Cleaning Kit on your printhead, don't do it. Well, don't. It's better to take the printhead out of the printer. All right. If you leave it inside of the printer, you'll push a lot of cleaning liquid through the head in a short amount of time, and it might be that excuse me, your capping and your flushing boxes can't take that amount of liquid in such a short time. So it's better to get it out. It also is very hard to see if your nozzles are free when it's still in the printer. There's very little room between the nozzle face and the bed of the printer or the capping or the flushing box. So if you take it out, you can easily see whether you have the result that you need, which is a straight mist or curtain of cleaning liquid coming out without no gaps and without not one single nozzle pointing to the right or the left or crossing other nozzles with the cleaning liquid. So these cleaning kits, anyone that has a printer should have one that matches the print head inside of his printer. Not only to free up nozzles, but also if you install a new head, you need to flush it with cleaning liquids. All heads have something called transportation liquid in them when they are moving from the manufacturer to the end user, and that needs to come out before you mount it inside your printer, because that transportation liquid might be fine with the original ink, but not everyone is using original ink, and the transportation liquid might start to react with your third-party ink. So get it out. Connect your Printhead Cleaning Kit and flush your printhead, in this case, all 8 channels. Right. It might be that even a Printhead Cleaning Kit, like in this particular case, because this is about head, by the way, is not able to recover a head. And you can take it one step further. You can use a device like an ultrasonic cleaner. Yep, there it is. An ultrasonic cleaner, which has a couple of functions. First, it can also flush your print head, but you don't have to hold it all the time, and you can do long cycles of flushing. Second, it can do reverse flushing. I'm going to talk about reverse flushing later on. And the third and most important function of a device like this, it can use ultrasonic waves on your print heads. And what ultrasonic does, it will actually very, very, very lightly and minimal shake the print head and the nozzles in order to get dried ink out of it. So let's have a look on this ultrasonic cleaner. So it's got 2 channels. There's a channel here, there's a channel here. Okay. It's got a container for cleaning liquids, and it's got a bridge. And that bridge will be used with trays. Take one. This is a tray for deep sport. So you put the tray on like this, then you can drop it down into the cleaning liquid, connect one of the channels, and have it run in a cycle. In a cycle of, for instance, 5 minutes flushing, 5 minutes rest, 5 minutes flushing, or a cycle that says 5 minutes ultrasonic, 10 minutes rest, etc., etc. All right. Both channels have a filter to pick up the cleaning liquid. This, yeah, and they have a filter in the back. They also have pumps in the back. So we're going to try our ultrasonic cleaner on a print head on the SAR. We'll do it on the SAR. Okay. Now the SAR I can connect directly to one of the channels. Channels have a lure connector, and in this particular case, I can connect it directly. But the device comes with brackets. Here we have a bracket mounted onto the Spectra Nova, so that you can have the channel coming in here, and it goes directly on the ink inlets of this printer. SAR 500, 1 channel, but 4 inlets. And these 4 inlets all drive a part of the nozzle face. So if I connect it, if I connect it to a channel, not the entire nozzle face will flush. Right? See? So you see that a part, one port of the right side is having nozzle sprayed. Okay? And since you have two channels, I could connect the second channel here and then flush half of the print head in one go. Or in the case of other print heads like Spectra Nova, any Spectra head, any Konica Minolta head, any Toshiba head, I can have two heads and flush them at the same time. Now, the most important function of the ultrasonic is, of course, the ultrasonic waves. So this head will mount it in the universal one. Hold on a second. This. There we go. Connected and channel. Okay. And I'll bring back down the lift so that the face of the print head, the nozzle face of the print head, is just touching the top of the cleaning liquid. Okay, so it's in now about a millimeter, so I can start flushing it. This. And I can use the ultrasonic. Yes. So now it's using ultrasonic waves, and that will simply it's set to run in 30 seconds, so that's okay. And that will simply use waves to get the dried ink out of the print head. This is the only effective way to do that if no other method worked on your print head. Now, just shut this one down, bring it up. So, however, word of caution, because I was going to talk about the reverse flushing procedure. Now, it might be that the dried ink is not on the face of the printhead, on the nozzle face of the printhead. It might be inside your printhead. And flushing this would make it worse. And in this case, you can use reverse flushing. As you can see on for instance, our SAR 500, the ink inlet is about 4 millimeters wide, and the smallest part of that printhead is the actual nozzle. So it would be hard to push that dried ink through the nozzle if it is inside your printhead. So what I advise when you use an ultrasonic on a robust printhead like the SAR 500, Spectra Nova, Spectra Galaxy, any Spectra cycle printheads, is to run a short reverse flushing cycle. So it actually will suck cleaning liquid inside the printhead and take it out through the ink inlet. So do a short run on that. Then disconnect the printhead, hold it upside down so any cleaning liquid that was left inside the printhead is out, and then do normal flushing. All right? Because if you try to do normal flushing first, and you don't know if that dried ink is on the nozzle face or inside the printhead, but if you do a normal flushing first, you might make things worse. Now, reverse flushing is not really recommended on Epson printheads. They are just too fragile for reverse flushing. You can use forward flushing on them, you can use ultrasonic, but in very short cycles, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds maximum. Okay, if you would do it the same way like we do Nova or Galaxy printheads, we just set up a cycle, do ultrasonic for 10 minutes, and then we leave it to run all night. If you would do that with an Epson printhead, you might end up with something that is much worse than what you had before. Okay, so to round it up, regular maintenance of your printhead is very important. Never rub the nozzle face of a printhead, never touch it with your bare hands. If you do have issues with nozzles not coming back, use a printhead cleaning kit, like the ones we have here. And if that fails, try to use an ultrasonic device. If that fails as well, I'm sorry, but then you still need to replace your printhead. Yeah, I'm going to open the chat window for questions and answers. So any question you have, you can ask it. Also, like any previous webinar we did, and I already mentioned it during the webinar as well, this one is recorded and you can watch it again afterwards. It will be available on our support website or on our YouTube channel. I also would like to mention that if you want to know more about how a printhead looks and how it is built and what parts are involved, then you can still order on our website our excellent book, Talking Heads. And if all fails and you need to replace a printhead, then I would also like to mention that until the end of the month, we have huge discounts on printheads, so check them out. Thank you. So I'll open chat now. Just turn my computer. So chat is open. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Let me see if I can switch cameras. Yeah. What about water-based Epsom? What do you mean, Robert? What about? They're no different in how you treat them or how you maintain them or how you would try to recover them than the solvent one. A salt jet head meaning an Epsom DX4. Yes, yes, it is possible. Basically, a DX4 is like a DX5, but with only 2 channels. In terms of technology, it's the same. It's 180 dpi, 3 micron nozzles. So yeah, it is possible to clean a salt jet head. That depends, Christian. Which type of advice are you looking for on how to maintain them or on how to recover them? About cleaning, like I said during the webinar, start with a Printhead Cleaning Kit and see if you can get the printhead working again with that. If that fails, you can run it in short cycles of ultrasonic. What kind of trouble are you facing with the black channel, Kristen? I could have guessed that. Bad nozzles. Yeah. What I would suggest, Christian, is that you open a ticket on our support website so that you can post photos of how your nozzles look. And please, people, when you do a nozzle check to see what is wrong with your printer, I think this kind of summed it up here. Always do a nozzle test, normal cleaning, print a second nozzle test, and then compare. It will tell you a lot more than a simple nozzle test without any cleaning in between. So always print 2 with a normal cleaning in between. Theoretical lifetime of DX4 printheads, it's expressed in actuations, how much actuations the piezo elements can do. And I think the DX4 was certified for, I think 2 or 3 million. I need to double check that. Lifetime will never be expressed in how many days, weeks, months, or years, because maybe you print a lot, or maybe you don't print a lot. Maybe you maintain your printer very, very well, or maybe you don't. So it's in actuations. How much, how many times the piezo elements can extract and retract. Yeah, if the swabs are soaked with cleaning liquid, then yes, they can touch the plate. It's more like when all else fails in terms of the cleaning procedures that your printer provides. If all that fails, then you can soak a swab in cleaning liquid and use that on the nozzle face. Okay, like I said, one direction, no excessive force. So what you do is you moisten the nozzles with cleaning liquids, okay? And if there's dust or debris that is blocking a nozzle or blocking it half, it will be washed away by the cleaning liquids, okay? It should be washed away by a normal cleaning, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the dust is sticky. It kind of formed a gel together with some ink. It's not dried yet, but it's resistant to any cleaning liquid coming from the dampers through the print head. Let me see when cleaning head can, yeah. Dimitri, have you got any experience of successful recovering Toshiba CA4W with UV inks? Yeah, we do. We do. I don't have a CA4 here. And it depends, of course, on how bad the condition of the printhead was. But yeah. I've visited a couple of customers using ultrasonic devices who actually use them preventive. So they have 8 heads in their printer, and they've got 4 spare heads. And if I think every month or something, or a cycle, they determine the cycle. They take 4 heads out, run it through the ultrasonic, and install the 4 spare heads. And then a month later, they do it again with the 4 other ones, and they actually successfully extend the life of their print heads this way. No, the direction of the swab does not matter, but it's much easier to do it from the back to the front. If you do it from the front to the back, try to do that. Also, you always take a little bit of that cleaning liquid along with the swab. Some of it will come down. You much rather have that on the front, where it's easier to access than on the back. So go from the back to the front. It's more logical. I always advise Zivco to use the cleaning solution that comes with the ink, because that way you are 100% sure that it is compatible with your ink and that it will not react. However, that said, it doesn't mean that a more generic cleaning solution is bad. To be honest, if you look at the composition of cleaning liquids that are out there, whether they're Memaki, Rhone, Mutual, or whatever, basically they're all more or less the same. But better to be safe than sorry. I can't. On a QS 3200, so you've got cycle heads and you are flushing them with the device that ships with your ViewTech printer, or with any other device? Well, Martin, it is not recommended if you use Epson heads to leave your printer for weeks without printing. But a recommended amount of daily printing to maintain DX4 heads? No, not really. If you would flush the heads and you use a flushing cartridge for that, so that not only the heads are flushed, but actually the entire ink channel is flushed, then you can leave it for weeks. However, if you say, I'm going to print today and I don't print for 3 days and then I'm going to print again, then normal cleaning, normal shutdown cleaning is sufficient for your printer. I see a little discussion about ink, so I'm not going to be involved in that. So back to the question of Ken. So you flush them with the ViewTech, how do they call that? The recovery station. And what's the result? You don't recover any nozzles at all, or you recover part of the nozzles, or if the ultrasonic frequency, how high possible damaged head? It's on most ultrasonic devices, you have a preset frequency for the ultrasonic waves, and you can't change it. Also, on some ultrasonic devices, you can set a different pressure, which is pointless. You should stay below a certain threshold, and in this case, especially for epson heads, it should be below 1 bar. So our ultrasonic device has 0.9, if I'm not mistaken, bar running through the channels, and that is sufficient for all printheads. It's pointless to go beyond 1 bar. It will not get you a better result, and it will significantly make the chance of damaging your printhead a lot bigger. Then there's something wrong. There's something else wrong with your head scans. Can you open a ticket on our support website so we can have a look at it more in depth, so we can help you more or better than the scope of this webinar for this particular case. I mean, it's gonna involve a lot more interaction. Yes, very good remark, Nick. Of course, we talked about maintaining your printhead, but wiper and capping station should be maintained as well, of course. The rubbers on the side of your capping should always be flexible. The wiper as well, if that starts to wear out, or the sides of it or the entire thing is come hard, it will seriously damage your printhead. So yeah. Sorry, Martin, the 50 centimeter issue, and I missed it. Martin one also. I think I missed that. I think the KM 1024 is a fairly easy head. It's got a little bit smaller nozzles than the KM 512, but yeah. Yes, Cesar, we always share the webinar on our support website and also on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, if you go to YouTube and you type DIGIPRINT supplies, you'll end up on our channel. You can watch this webinar again and any previous webinar that we did in the past 2 years. Yes, holiday maintenance of your printhead. Make sure that there's no ink inside of your printhead and the entire printer, depending on, of course, the type of ink that you're using. UV ink, for instance, is a lot more forgiving than solvent ink or water-based ink. So if you're solvent and water-based ink, get it outside of your printer if you're going to leave it there for 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. I would like to thank everyone for watching. As mentioned a couple of times, if you want to watch it again, YouTube channel or our support website. If you have any other questions about printhead maintenance, use of the Printhead Cleaning Kit, use of the CleanSonic ultrasonic adapter, or any questions about printheads in general, please write us an email on tech@digiprintsupplies.com or webinar@digiprintsupplies.com, or use our support website, open a ticket, ask your question, and we will be more than happy to answer that question. So again, thank you for watching, and see you next month. Bye-bye.